beginning of February and I've been watching all these videos on YouTube in December, what to plant in December, in January, what you can plant in January, and now same videos are appearing in February, and I've been itching to get planting, but the reality is for me, because of my space and the availability I have, it was too early for me to start, but now is the time to start. And I'm going to go in the potting shed now and start planting or putting my first seeds in for the first time, and I'll share with you what those seeds are and show you what I've done. So if you like the video, then give it the thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to the channel, then please press the subscribe button. So come with me then into the potting shed and we will start putting some seeds in. You'll remember from a previous video my sowing and planting calendar. Now this is where it really comes into its own. What I can look at now by seeing what I've put in the calendar, what seeds, so when to plant them indoors, when to plant them outdoors, when to harvest them. You'll notice I put a blue line which represents where we are now. So this is just after the first week beginning 1st of February going on to the 8th. So I can see everything that's coming up past this line tells me what I need to be doing now. So for example, I can look at the red things, which are the things that I should plant indoors, which I could be planting now indoors, which could be broad beans, could be Brussel sprouts, which I'm going to plant today, could be cabbage, which I can put in today, celery, all that can go in today. I can put peppers in and tomatoes, and most of those I am going to plant today, and I'll show you how I've planted them. But it allows me as well to think, well, if I can plant something outdoors in the future, which is represented by the blue lines, maybe if I want to start them off inside, then I can work back from this planner and plant them inside as well. So this, just by having this planting calendar, it saves me wading through my many packets of seeds and trying to work out what I want to plant and when I want to plant it. So if you haven't seen that video, it's well worth a look, and I've also in that video I'll provide you with the opportunity just to email me and I'll give you the template for free. So go and have a look at that video and get your own, or make your own, sowing and planting calendar. So we're now ready to start putting our seeds in. Always try and get your area set up so that you're ready and can do it quickly. You can see I've got my compost tray here, I've got my seed tray ready. For this particular type of seed, I'm actually going to be planting spinach seeds in this tray here. These were seeds were given to me by a allotment here colleague, so I don't even know what variety they are. I did a bit of research on when to plant them, so they'll be due to go out in a number of weeks. So if I put them in now, they'll be ready. This John Innes compost is ideal for seeds like this, and even small seeds. It's quite a fine mix. Perfect for the germination. Contains good levels of zinc, which is good for root development, and also vermiculite, which helps moisture retention in the trays. So simply in your tray, put your compost in, just gently squeezing it and putting it across there. Very, very simply. Just so that you fill the whole tray up. That's it. And then, in order to make sure that you sort of ensure that the compost is slightly compacted down, just bang it a couple of times just to lower it. What you're not trying to do is compress the compost too much, because that will make germination difficult. Now that the seed tray is full of compost, we're ready to put the seeds in. And the general rule for seeds is that the seeds are generally about double the actual depth of the longest side of the seed down. So most seeds will be fairly shallow, and spinach are no different. They look a little bit like beetroot seeds, a little bit rough around the edges, almost like little clusters. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to use my fingers to just gently put indents into each of the holes, just to provide a place for the seed to rest. No, I'm not going too far down, because remember the seeds are only quite small. just allows the seeds to rest into the holes. And then I'm literally going to put some seeds in my hand, and then I'm going to put one seed in each of the cells until they're all full. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the rest of these in, and we'll come back and I'll show you how to finish. Then all we'll do then is just gently rub between your hands, just to sift over a little bit more compost on top, just to fill the holes. You're going to level this off anyway, just to make sure that they're covered. They won't need an awful lot of covering, these seeds, because they're not massive seeds. Making a bit of a mess there. That's it. And then just gently, just very gently tap them down, and then you can get rid of any excess. There we go. And that's the spinach in, and all we'll do then is we'll give them a bit of a sprinkle of water. You want to give them a good soaking. Now these particular seeds, they won't need a propagator. These will germinate perfectly well in this potting shed in these temperatures. Make sure you label them up. So I've got a label prepared here with spinach with the I can't put the variety on because I don't know what it is. I'm just put the actual date you planted them on the back there. That'll go in there, and that's our first seeds planted. So next we're going to plant some cucumbers, and this variety here called Market More 76, so a variety I've grown for a number of years. Started them in the polytunnel usually, and they are normally slow starters, so I might put these in the propagator. I'll think about that in a minute. They're outdoor ridge cucumbers, and they produce an awful lot of cucumbers, but I have found that sometimes they are more slower to start than other types. So I've got a 9 cell tray here, so same thing, what we've just done, we'll put some compost in there, and we'll give it a bit of a tap. You can see how when you tap it, it goes down, so just put a little bit more in there to top it up. And there we have it, ready to put the seeds in. So again, we will use our fingers a little tiny bit deeper with these than we just done for the spinach, because the seeds here are slightly bigger. Remember, on the general rule, you normally go twice in terms of depth to the longest length of the seed itself. These are quite small seeds for cucumbers, and you get loads in a packet of these actually, so I'm only going to put one in each. I will plant some of these as well in a few weeks time, depending upon how well these germinate, because when these do start to grow, you'll see when you put them in your garden or your allotments, they spread rapidly and they take up a lot of area, which is why I grow them up canes, and I'll show you a future video for how I do that. And then again, a bit of loose compost on top. It's good stuff, this John Innes compost. It's you know, very fine and perfect for these types of seeds. Again, just gently tap it down with your hand, not too vigorously, and then just scrape off any excess. There we go, and that's how a cucumber's planted. And again, I'm going to give that a bit of a water. Again, don't be tempted to use a watering can to do your watering for seedlings, because you could potentially saturate them and, you know, soak them away if you put too much water in them. Don't forget your labels. Got a label here, a cucumber 6 of the second 21, and the variety Market More on the back. Put that in there, and that's our cucumbers in. So in this tray we've got 24 cells. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do 8 of celery, a variety called Octavius F1, 8 of cabbage, a variety called Cabbage, Cabbice, and 8 of Brussel Sprouts, a variety called Brendan F1. What I'm trying this year is to make sure that I don't overplant. As I've said in previous videos, what I've done when I first started planting and using the allotment was that I'd do a whole tray, a whole large tray, say one of these, and just fill it with seeds, because that was how many was in the packet. And of course, when they were germinated, I didn't possibly have any room for them all. And what I've realised over the years, grow more varieties of different vegetables, but grow less of them, and that way you get a better variety for yourself. So that's what we're going to do in this particular pot here. So again, filling them up. Just with the again, still with the John Innes compost. You can use any good seed compost. For some seeds, my advice would be try and steer away from multi-purpose compost for particularly for smaller seeds. They might be all right for some of your larger seeds, but if you want to try and get a good rate of germination, then really you want to be going for some form of specific seed compost, such as John Innes or Levingtons or something like that. Also, with these flexible trays, because they're quite flimsy, underneath I've put a more robust plastic tray. Give that a bit of a tap just to compact it down, and then we will put a little bit more of a layer on just to fill those trays right to the top. And there we have. So now we have our seed tray ready. And as I say, I'm going to do 8, 8 and 8. So we'll do we'll put the celery in here, the cabbage in the middle 8, and the Brussels sprouts. Just gently just prod them on top there. Okay, so now we'll get the seeds. Now celery, but they're very tiny seeds. It said in here there's over 200 seeds. So so that's going to tell me that the seeds are really small, and they're actually minute, the celery seeds. So I've put a few in my hand, which you probably can't see on the camera, but they are there. And the way to plant seeds that are this tiny is to put them almost into the lifeline on your hand, and then just gently tap. And it's going to put a number of seeds in each cell. So that's the celery in, and I've still got celery seeds left, so I'm going to seal that packet and maybe plant another batch of them in a few weeks' time. Next one I'm going for is the cabbage. Yep, these are tiny as well. In the packet of here it says there is approximately 30 seeds, so there's a lot less. These are a little bit bigger than the seeds that I've just put in for the celery, so actually you can pick these up with your hand. These are, because they're round, you can just rotate your finger and your thumb and just pop them. A couple usually will go into each of the holes like that. Always, if you are putting seeds back into the packet, do it over compost. That way, if you do lose any, they might grow, because if you do it over the surface and they're so small, you'll never retrieve them. And finally, we've got Brussels sprouts, and it says that there's 40 in this packet, Brendan. So I'm going to put them in my hand here, and these are about the same size as the ones I've just done for the cabbage. So same process. Put them into the centre of your hand. Just put 1 or 2 in each cell, just into the holes that you've done. That's it. Now what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to actually cover these, because the seeds are so small, in vermiculite. The vermiculite is something that adds soil moisture retention to the seeds. So therefore it's a good thing to, you only need a little bit just to cover the seeds, and this will also help drainage as well, as they are germinating. So just putting a little bit there just to cover them. We're going to put a bit of water on them, just give them a bit of water, give them a good soaking. What some people do first, moisten the compost, and you can do that. So in there you can have that mixed with water, so that the is already damp. I'm going to take that out of there, put it with the rest of them, but make sure we've labelled them up. Now we started off with the celery, so I had my labels ready before I planted them in order of what I was going to plant them. So we've got celery, which is in here and here. Then we've got our cabbage, which is here. Again, labelling with the dating and the variety as well. And then we've got our Brussels sprouts, which are here and here. Now what we'll do, we'll wait for them to germinate, and eventually we'll thin them out and put them into more isolated trays and see how many we get with them. So that's the 3 varieties of celery, cabbage and Brussels sprouts, all planted. Next we're going to go and plant some leeks, and leeks are one of those vegetables that are great, because when a lot of the vegetables are coming towards the end in the summer and the early autumn, leeks are something that go on through autumn and into the winter. So great to have them for Christmas as well. So I'm planting leeks. Now I'm going to put them in a pot like this rather than a tray, because they can, and they often grow better in clusters. And anyway, when they get to a certain size, they're going to be separated out as well. So I always tend to find that leeks are better for me in these rather than in cells. Of course, you may have a different view, and that's absolutely fine. So as you can see, I've just put the Johnny's compost into the pot, leveled it all off, and now I'm going to put the seeds into my hand. And these leek seeds, quite small little black things. It says on the packet there's over 300 seeds in here. I'd like to know who counts them, but I'll take their word for it. And again, using your hand, you can see, if you move your hand like this, you can see this line here. All you'll want to do then, just to make sure that they are as randomly placed and spaced as possible, is literally just tap your hand as you go around, and that way they should be as spread out as you could possibly make them. That's the way that you plant the small seeds. They don't need an awful lot of cover, so again I'm going to cover those in vermiculite. Just give them a bit of a cover in vermiculite and water them in, because they're on such tiny seeds. You don't really want to put too much compost on top of them and bury them. So just a light coat of vermiculite will do the trick. And then what we're going to do, clearly, we're going to water them in, give them a good soak. There we go. And label them. Always label your seeds so you know what they are. I've got Leek Autumn Mammoth 2, and they were planted on the 6th of February 2021. So there is the leeks. And now we come to the peppers. I love growing peppers, but they do take a bit of germinating. These will need to go in the propagator. Two varieties of peppers I've got. I've got one called But Jolokia, B-H-U-T, which is a chili pepper, and one called Fuego F1, which is a hot pepper. I'm going to do something slightly different with these compared to the other seeds. So I'm going to fill a tray up, obviously, and I'm going to use seed trays, small seed trays. So I think these are half seed trays. These are all these. Just compact them down. A bit more compost in there. Now, these are going to go in the propagator, so therefore there's going to be quite a temperature in there, and any moisture in there is going to tend to want to evaporate more quickly. So what I'm going to do in this case, before I put the seed, is I'm actually going to water the compost. Just put a good amount of water in there and let it just soak in just for a few seconds before I then will put the seeds into it. So I'm just going to give that a few seconds just to allow the water to sink or go in while I fill up this other tray here. I'm putting over there. These potting trays are great because you know, obviously don't make any mess, and all your compost is concealed within this area here. So if you haven't got those, think about getting one maybe. There we go, perfect. And I'm going to water that one. Now notice on this one I've done first, you can still see that it's still visibly damp, and that's good because it is going to go into the propagator. Water this one in the same way. There we go. Now what I'm going to do for the first tray, I'll let that second tray soak in a little bit. I'm going to get my first lot of peppers, which is the But Jolokia, and I'm going to put them in my hand. Now it says on the packet here you only get 10 seeds with these, so I'm hoping that they're going to be a decent size. Yep, they're a good size seed. 2, 4, 6. There's exactly 10 in there. Oh no, I think somebody's actually physically counted those. So I'm just going to literally place them on the surface, just so I can see where they're landing. Now once these have germinated, I'm going to wait till they get to a certain size, and then I'm going to transplant them into their own pots, but they need to be a certain size to be able to do that. I'm just going to, with my hands, just gently put a layer of compost over them, and then just level it off with my hand and just gently tap, and it is really gently, tap it down to compact it. There we go. And I'm not going to water that again because obviously we've got the water that's already soaked the compost underneath it. Label that, and we're going to do exactly the same again for this other compost tray with the other variety of peppers, which is the one called Fuego F1. This is a hot pepper. I was thinking about putting these in a smaller pot, but when I noticed there was like 10 seeds on there, I thought, well, in a tray of this size I can give them a good distance apart. And again, I'm just going to get the compost that's left in this compost tray, put it in my hands and just do a bit of a shuffle with my hands over the top of that there, and then that's our job done. And again, as with the first tray, I'm clearly not going to water that. Just compact it down and label. These will now go into the propagator, and they will probably take, it depends on temperature, maybe a week or week and a half to germinate. So there we have it. That's a good day's work today. I've got my propagator which is now on. I have put the peppers and the cucumber in there. All the cabbage, Brussel sprouts, celery that you saw earlier, that's all there. The peppers, as I've said, is already in the propagator, the leeks and the spinach. And just at the top right hand corner there's 2 trays of potatoes which are chitting, ready to be planted out a little bit later, in maybe a month and a half, 2 months time. So as I say, a good day's work, plenty of planting there. Notice that they're all put right in front of the window because I obviously want them to get as much light as they possibly can. So a good few things planted today, a really good start to the planting season, and obviously from now onwards there are going to be other things that now will start to become needing to plant. Hopefully you've got a few ideas there of things that you might want to plant, and you might be growing other things yourselves as well. So if you put anything else in, then let me know in the comments what you're growing, and let others know as well. I'm sure everybody else will be glad to hear what other people are doing as well. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and if you do like the video, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you want to watch future videos about how to sow and grow fruit and veg and the odd recipe idea here and there, then please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all on the next video.